All right, what's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be taking a look at a mouse that received a lot of hype leading up to its release, the G-Wolves Lycan. The Lycan is a low-profile and extremely lightweight full-size mouse that comes in at just 28 grams. It sports flagship specs with a 3950, a Nordic 54L MCU, and has 8K polling out of the box, though I didn't really use it. It has Huano SPDT switches with a custom G-Wolves implementation, and they claim to have the least latency of tested mice, which is a pretty big claim, although I will not be able to test that, unfortunately. But anyways, without further ado, I'll get into the pros and cons and my general thoughts, and then of course give a rating for the mouse. Starting out with the pros, obviously the weight is ridiculous for a full-size mouse, and that includes the weight balancing. The shape is really nice for F-tip, it grips well, and what stood out the most, the build quality is absolutely stellar. So starting out with the weight and weight balancing, the weight itself for a full-sized mouse is really the lightest that you can get on a mouse that is mass-produced and ready to ship, kind of. I say kind of because people have really been waiting a lot for this mouse to ship, but I'm sure that G-Wolves will get more consistent with it in the future, and you should be able to just buy this mouse whenever and get it within a few weeks. This is really important though, because to get a full-sized mouse at this weight, you usually have to look at a custom mouse from Piranha Mouse Mods or a small independent seller to make the mouse for you or to ship the parts for you to put it together yourself. And on top of that, it's usually a mouse with a lot of holes, not a full shell mouse like this one. So besides this mouse, you can get the Pulsar Crazy Light series ready to order, but they come in about 10 grams heavier than this one. So this is insanely impressive to see this light of a mouse and one that is mass produced and ready to buy. The weight balancing, like I said, is great as well. The battery is toward the mid-back area of the mouse and is relatively small, so it doesn't make the mouse feel off. For F-tip grip and placing your thumb right under the side buttons, the balancing feels great, and you barely notice even having the mouse in your hand when you play. That brings me to the shape of the mouse. It is just about perfect for a full-size mouse for fingertip grip. The click height is very low, as you can see. According to the website, it only sits about 7 millimeters from the pad to the very front of the clicks. This is exactly what you want on F-tip mice because it almost feels like you are drawing on a touchscreen when you're tracking enemies because your fingers are just so close to the pad. The back hump is also super low profile, so you never run out of room when controlling recoil using your fingertips. You can just move this mouse really freely when you're using fingertip grip, and it's really impressive for a full-size mouse. There is still enough of a hump though to use for claw grip, but I do think there are better options such as the X2H from Pulsar that are better for claw grip than this mouse, but this one is more geared toward F-tip or relaxed claw users. On top of that, the mouse also grips really well without putting extra grips on it, which is amazing to see from G-Wolves. They are very passionate about not having coating and have literally said that they despise it before, so usually their mice are super slippery. They do include grips in the packaging, but then when you do put grips on it, it makes it a little bit heavier, so it makes the draw of the lightweight a lot less relevant. But not on the Lycan though. I haven't put grips on it and it's fine. It's still working great and my fingers don't slip. It has a good texture to it and no dimples, so for me, it sticks to my hand very, very well. Now lastly for the pros, but definitely the most impressive, is the build quality. You would expect a mouse that's only 28 to 29 grams to be brittle and easy to break, but it actually has better build quality than so many much heavier mice. For example, I recently looked at the Eweiden S9 V2 Ultra, and that had a very bad build quality and the sides flexed a ton, but this one, it doesn't flex at all. And that really comes down to the engineering of the shell and the main board working together to make a well-built product. There are not many pieces at all to this mouse, as you can see. You have the top shell, which is connected directly to the main board. Then on top of that, you have a lightweight metal bar that spans the back of the mouse for even more support. So not only is there not a base, but the circuit board does not bear all the weight. So you can confidently squeeze this mouse without worrying about breaking it or affecting tracking. I mean, look, there's like no flex whatsoever as I am pushing on it, and I really just was not expecting that. Really, I'm just super impressed by how well built this is and the engineering behind it. Great work from G-Wolves here on the build quality. So that's all the pros, and there are many of them, but there are a couple cons, those mainly being the battery life, the side button placement, and surprisingly, the clicks. The battery life, to no surprise, is not that great. It has a pretty small battery. I'm not sure what exactly the milliamp hours is on it. I'm sure I could just look if I took the mouse apart, but I don't want to do that. That's obviously for weight saving purposes, and obviously it has very good performance, so on higher settings, the mouse can drain itself pretty quickly. Mainly the high performance or gaming setting, it really makes a noticeable difference along with the polling rate. I definitely suggest running the mouse at 2K polling with competitive or high performance mode off, and you'll get good results with that. To make a full-size mouse this light, you just have to have a drawback, and I think this is probably the biggest one, the battery life. The side button placement is a complaint that I saw from a lot of people when I first posted about this mouse, and at first I didn't notice it, but paying more attention to it, I could see why it is not optimal. They are really low on the mouse, and because the mouse is so low profile, it runs into where your thumb is placed for most people, especially for using F-tip. Personally, I've been playing FPS games only recently, and unless I am playing Fortnite, I really don't use my side buttons all that often, so I didn't notice it at first, but when I started to pay attention to it because people were mentioning it, I was definitely touching the side buttons pretty much constantly while playing. This could get really annoying for players who have important binds on those side buttons, so I think a higher placement would have been really nice on this mouse if possible. Lastly, a big surprise is that the clicks are lacking for a G-Wolves mouse. I've always said that they have the best clicks in the game, and I stand by that statement, but these clicks are just average. They have a good amount of post travel and feel pretty spongy, and you can feel them bottom out well after the click has actuated. I don't spam click much in game, but if you do, you're definitely going to notice that on this mouse. Like I said, usually G-Wolves has incredibly tight clicks that bottom out as soon as you click them, like on the Fenrir series, so this one just doesn't live up to that. Overall, compared to the competition, they are average, and they're pretty decent, but I do expect more from G-Wolves, so I definitely wanted to call that out. I will say the other aspects of the mouse more than make up for that though. Overall, if you can't tell, I am super impressed with this mouse, and it easily gets a 4.5 out of 5 for me on my rating scale. I can confidently say that this is the best full-size mouse for fingertip grip at the point of making this video. It is well built, it performs well, and if I weren't a reviewer who used a new mouse every week, I would for sure be using this 100% of the time, hands down. That's going to do it for my review of the G-Wolves Lycan. Again, I'm super impressed with this mouse, and it comes in at $129.99, which I think is a fair price. There are some other mice out there that are a good $30 to $40 more expensive that I don't think are as high quality as this one. If you're in the market for an F-tip or relaxed claw mouse, then this is absolutely the one to buy, as long as they can figure out their shipping situation. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll be back on a budget mouse soon with the VXE V3 Pro from ATK, so be on the lookout for a review on that. Like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Hey,